Hey everyone, welcome to GamesDusk. With a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima on the horizon, I thought it'd be a great time to go back and revisit the story of the first game. In this video, I'll walk you through everything you need to know about Jin Sakai's journey. Perfect if you want a quick refresher or you're new to the game. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more story content like this. Let's get into it. Ghost of Tsushima drops us right into the late 13th century. Khan Khotan Mongol, on the orders of his cousin Kublai Khan, invades the island of Tsushima. The Mongol Empire at that time was massive, stretching from China and Korea all the way to Iran and southern Russia, ruled by Kublai Khan, a grandson of Genghis Khan. Kublai was basically a global superpower back then, so he decided to invade Japan to expand his empire and get his hands on their resources. Kublai initially tried to talk the Japanese into surrendering, but the samurai never backed down. This forced Kublai Khan to send his cousin, Khotan Khan, to conquer Japan. To invade Japan, the Mongol army had to pass through an island called Tsushima, located between Korea and Japan and part of Japanese territory. The game kicks off with Khotan Khan landing on Tsushima. Here, Jin Sakai, our main character, along with his uncle Lord Shimura and 78 other samurai, are ready for a hopeless battle against thousands of Mongol soldiers. They're determined to die with honor for their country. At the first, Lord Shimura sends one of his samurai to offer Khotan Khan a chance to surrender, hoping to shake their confidence. But Khotan flips it around and tells the samurai they should surrender instead, which, of course, they refuse. The battle kicks off, and just like you'd expect, almost all the samurai are wiped out. Still, Lord Shimura and Jin Sakai make it out alive and keep fighting. Jin and Lord Shimura manage to find the Mongol leader and are about to attack him, but after an explosion, Jin is badly wounded and passes out. Meanwhile, Khotan Khan captures Lord Shimura. He tells Lord Shimura that he's been preparing for this moment, knows their beliefs inside and out, and that they shouldn't bother resisting. Khotan Khan asks Shimura one last time, but gets no answer and brutally wounds him. Still, Lord Shimura is alive and taken prisoner by the Mongols. Elsewhere, Jin is still alive. When he wakes up, he realizes someone saved his life. Jin, completely out of the loop, first looks for his armor and gear, but quickly realizes the Mongols have taken over the entire island. He stealthily slips into a nearby house and manages to put on his broken armor. But as soon as he opens the door, he sees how dire things are. The Mongols are slaughtering everyone. Just then, a woman named Yuna appears. From what she says, it's clear she saved Jin from that hell. Jin asks about his sword, but Yuna tells him it's not there. So, after killing a Mongol soldier, they go looking for Jin's sword. Along the way, Jin learns from Yuna that Lord Shimura is still alive, and the Mongols have taken him to Castle Kaneda in the east of the island. By following Yuna, Jin finally finds his katana. Jin then flashes back to his childhood, remembering how his uncle, Shimura, taught him the samurai way of fighting. After reminiscing, Jin and Yuna head to an area to find horses. During this, Jin and Yuna have a heated discussion. As you know, samurai have strict rules for fighting. Like, you have to face your opponent without fear, look them in the eye, and kill them with dignity. This samurai code is completely against secretly killing enemies, which is what Shimura had taught Jin since he was a kid. The problem is, Jin is now facing thousands of Mongol soldiers and still insists on fighting the traditional samurai way, but Yuna is strongly against it. She believes that to save the country, it doesn't matter what methods you use. Jin, however, doesn't listen to Yuna and single-handedly takes down 6 guys superhero style, saving a man's life. Now, Yuna says she needs Jin's help to save her brother, Taka, but Jin insists they must save his uncle Shimura first. So, Yuna joins Jin, planning to rescue Taka after freeing Lord Shimura from Castle Kaneda. When they get close to Castle Kaneda, Jin tells Yuna to stay back with the horses. He goes in alone, using his samurai skills to silently take out the Mongol soldiers one by one, making his way toward his goal. That's when he finds out his uncle, Lord Shimura, is still alive. Jin then faces off against Khotan Khan, but the fight doesn't go well, he's defeated. In that moment, Jin feels like he's failed again. A memory comes back to him, when his father died and he couldn't do anything to save him. But he also remembers how Lord Shimura helped him through it, made sure he didn't blame himself, and turned him into a strong, determined samurai. Disappointed and defeated, Jin makes his way back to Yuna. After they talk, they decide to find Yuna's brother, and for Jin to gather a team of samurai. This is where the game truly begins. As they continue, Jin and Yuna discover that the prisoners, including Yuna's brother Taka, are being held in an area near Castle Kaneda. But Yuna warns that the smallest move from them will cause the Mongol soldiers to kill all the prisoners, and Jin needs to stop his samurai heroics and not mess up the plan. Jin agrees, but after secretly killing the first Mongol soldier, he has a flashback to a day when an assassin attacked his uncle, trying to kill him. Shimura prevents it and warns Jin never to attack like a coward from behind, but to fight bravely, which is exactly what Jin just did. After pressing on and killing all the jailers, they manage to free a prisoner who seemingly knows about Yuna's brother. That prisoner says he's sure Yuna's brother was taken to an area called Azamabi. After learning this, Jin and Yuna agree that in exchange for freeing Taka, he'll build any tools Jin needs. But Yuna says that after Taka is free, they won't be able to help Jin rescue his uncle because they plan to leave the island. On the other side of the story, we see Koten Khan still hoping Shimura will fall for his words and surrender the island, but that never happens. Now, Yuna leaves to devise a plan to free her brother Taka, and Jin begins searching for fighters to form a team. The first person Lord Sakai seeks out is a master archer named Ishikawa. Upon arriving at Ishikawa's house, Jin notices signs of a struggle inside. Either the Mongols killed the master, or the master killed the Mongols. Jin searches further and finally finds the master. Jin asks the master to help him rescue his uncle, but the master says the Mongols have kidnapped one of his best students, Tomo, and if Jin wants help, he needs to help find Tomo. Along the way, Ishikawa gives Jin a cool bow to use. Ishikawa and Jin, following the Mongols' tracks, eventually reach an area full of Mongols. After engaging and shredding them, they can't find anything except a half-dead captive. According to that captive, it turns out the master's student, Tomo, betrayed the Japanese, killed them all, and is now part of the Mongols. It's also revealed that the struggle at the master's house was between Tomo and Ishikawa himself. Ishikawa had been lying to them the entire time, and is now just looking for Tomo to get his revenge. Jin tells the master that he's got his back, but Master Ishikawa says this is a fight between him and his student, and he has to finish it himself, but assures Jin he's there to help if needed. The master also introduces a woman named Masako to them, who can be a new member of their group. She's the wife of that poor man Koten Khan, brutally wounded at the beginning of the game. As Jin continues, he finds Lady Masako and tells her he needs her group's help, but Masako chokes up and says there's no group left. The Mongols had actually killed every member of Masako's family, even a newborn. Jin joins Masako, and they manage to find one of the people who betrayed Masako's group and caused her family's death, and they get their revenge. Now, Jin teams up with Masako to find everyone who harmed her group and get revenge, and after that, Masako agrees to join Jin's group. They've now found a list of traitors, and at the top of that list is a man named Suda. Masako, who knew Suda before, says he has a brother named Hachi, who delivers food to different villages with his cart. They can find Suda through him. Jin and Masako find and follow Hachi. After a struggle, Hachi manages to escape, although Masako and Jin find Hina, Hachi's wife. But she's no help, just crying and wailing. Until sometime later, shouts come from the room, and it turns out Hachi killed his wife and ran away. Following Hachi's tracks, they finally find him with the Mongols, but Hachi, who was severely injured in the fight, finally dies without any help. Masako doesn't give up on the story. After a lot of searching and wandering, they finally realize that Suda is hiding in a lighthouse, and when Masako reaches him, she tears him apart to ease some of her grief. After all the help Jin gave Masako, Lady Masako finally graciously agrees to help them if they ask. Jin, relieved by this, goes to Yuna and sees her talking to a man named Kenji, who is both a professional con artist and runs a sake cart. Since Kenji sells sake, he can easily enter Azamabi prison without anyone suspecting him. Yuna plans for her and Jin to enter the prison via Kenji's cart. They put the plan into action, and it goes well as predicted. Finally, after entering the prison, Yuna manages to save her brother Taka. Kenji arrives with 4 horses, and it turns out he sold sake to all the guards, making them incapacitated. Now we have Taka, who can build the tools we need. Although Taka initially refuses to do it, after we bring his assistant to him, he agrees to build that cursed tool for us. Time passes, and when Jin is tracking in the forest, he sees one of his oldest friends, Ryuzo, who is a very skilled fighter. Jin asks Ryuzo to help him free his uncle, but Ryuzo says his men are tired and hungry, and he doesn't think they'll risk their lives for someone just like that. Jin has no other choice. After a fight with the Mongols, he agrees to gather food for Ryuzo's men. They attack a Mongol-infested area with Ryuzo, but can't find any supplies. Because of this, they raid a few Mongol ships, but they get into a fight with the Mongols there and still get nothing. However, Jin finds a Mongol attack plan, and Ryuzo takes it from him, telling Jin he can help him on the day of the attack. Jin parts ways with Ryuzo and returns to Taka and Yuna, where Taka has prepared the tool Jin needs for his stealthy entry into Castle Kaneda. Just then, Ryuzo shows up again, claiming his men have been captured, and Jin joins him. Now that only my aunt was left to help, Jin decides to attack Castle Kaneda tomorrow night. You might be wondering, weren't Taka and Yuna supposed to leave after building that cursed tool? Well, now that the Assembly of Legends, Master Ishikawa, Masako, Yuna, Taka, Kenji, and the Ghost of Tsushima are all gathered, they're ready to enter the castle. But the question is, where in hell is Ryuzo? According to Jin's plan, they're supposed to stealthily kill Mongols starting from the castle's entrance without making any noise, because the slightest sound will lead to his uncle's execution. Jin, with all his might, kills anyone in his way and enters the castle. Inside the castle, Jin is completely shocked, because Ryuzo was nothing more than a major traitor. Jin tries to advise him, but Ryuzo stubbornly says he has to cooperate with the Mongols for his own benefit, because if he doesn't, he'll eventually be killed by one of them. Jin and Ryuzo fight, but in the end, Ryuzo is defeated, and as he tries to escape, he screams a samurai is here, and all of Jin's plans are ruined.
It's not too late. Help me save our home. It belongs to them now. Ryuzo. He's here! The samurai is here!
Samurai Sakai, after a lot of fighting and conflict, finally manages to free his gift of an uncle. They kill every Mongol and non-Mongol they can find. Finally, they miraculously conquer Castle Kaneda and claim it for themselves.
I live to serve you, my lord. We have to leave.
Not yet. Khotun Khan is marching north to conquer Toyotama. He left some guards here. But there'll be no match for two samurai.
I brought allies. We can retake the castle.
Then we'll sing songs of our victory.
On the other side of the story, Khotun Khan is trying to take over Lord Shimura's castle. We see him tie up some of the castle's servants to wooden posts, threatening to kill them if the gates don't open. But the heartbreaking part is that he doesn't do it himself. He orders Ryuzo to handle it. And that's when we witness one of the saddest betrayals in the whole story. Ryuzo, desperate to get food for his starving men, agrees to help Khotun Khan. But now he's forced to burn his own people alive, people he once fought beside. Lord Shimura tells Jin that he must never forget the way of the samurai, that he shouldn't fight like a coward ever again. He also says that until Yuna helps them take back their land, she's not allowed to leave. Then Shimura gives an order. There's a region called Yurikawa not too far from there, and so far the Mongols haven't managed to take it. The people there are strong fighters, but there's one problem. Thanks to Lord Shimura's stuck-up attitude, they all hate him and there's no chance they'll help. So it's decided that Jin and Yuna will head to Yurikawa and try to convince the people to join their fight against the Mongols. Luckily, both Yuna and Taka were born in Yurikawa, which might help them win the locals over. Also, when Jin and Lord Shimura are alone, the Lord says he has an old friend named Gora who's a pirate and owes him a lot. Shimura tells Jin to find him so he can write a letter to the shogun and ask for help. A quick note about the shogun. In ancient times, roughly from the late 12th to early 14th century in Japan, the Japanese called the supreme commander of the country's military forces shogun. It's not a person's name, but a title. Now, before Yuna and Jin leave for Yurikawa, a stylish monk named Norio approaches Jin and says, "There were many of us. After hearing what happened in Kaneda, we immediately came to help you, but unfortunately, we lost our men along the way, and now only a few of us are left. By the way, Kaneda is where the first battle between the samurai and Khotun Khan took place. But the important thing is that now this man and a few of his friends are ready to help them in the war." Jin, Taka, and Yuna head towards Yurikawa, and when they get near the city, they see that the Mongols have besieged Yurikawa, and things are not looking good at all. But Jin says if they help them now, there's a chance they'll also help them in the main war against the Mongols. Since Yuna spent her childhood in Yurikawa, they can enter Yurikawa through a shortcut and reach Yujimasa, the leader of the people of Yurikawa. When Jin and Yuna offer to help Yujimasa so they, in turn, help Lord Shimura, Yujimasa refuses, saying, "We can handle ourselves." Jin and Yuna get discouraged, but as they're about to leave the city, they see the Mongols entering. They don't allow it and take care of all the Mongols. Now their actions reach Yujimasa, and he agrees to help them. After hearing the good news, Jin and Yuna decide to take a moment to rest and escape all the pain and stress for a while.
This is terrible.
My mother loved it. Used to drink it like water. She gets so mad when she ran out. Yelled at us. "Where's my tea?"
Sounds like a demanding woman.
She broke Taka's arm when he was 6. I took him away. Ran as far from her as we could get. We heard they found her a month later. Face down in the street.
You were brave to protect your brother. Sometimes, our only choice is to walk away from everything we know.
But their break doesn't last long. They soon realize the Mongols are attacking the city. Jin and the people of Yurikawa grab their swords and fight back like true heroes, defending their lives and their homes. With Yuna's help, Jin destroys all of the Mongols' weapons and takes down their commander. After the battle, he gives a powerful speech that moves the entire town, and just like that, the people of Yurikawa agree to join the fight against the Mongols. Now Jin goes to Gora, who agrees to deliver the letter to the shogun, but says he needs their support. So Jin goes to his uncle and tells him they need to subtly support Gora's ship so they can help him if he gets discovered. When Gora's ship sets sail, the Mongols notice everything and attack him, and they have to cover him in this way. After a lot of trouble and hardship, Jin finally goes to his uncle, retrieves his father's armor, and finally, the Ghost of Tsushima emerges. Jin goes back to his uncle, and Lord Shimura tells him that everything with Yuna and Taka is settled. They're planning to leave Tsushima the next day. Meanwhile, the castle guards have discovered that Ryuzo is nearby, hiding and probably planning to sneak in. Jin steps up and says, "I'll take care of it myself." He asks Yuna to come with him, but she refuses.
I can't. Please understand. I spent my life working for this. Going to bed hungry.
Reminding him that they're finally about to leave and reach the future they've been chasing for so long. So Jin heads out alone to confront Ryuzo. Not long after, Taka catches up to him and says he wants to help, that he owes Jin his life. He begs Jin to at least let him distract the guards. Jin agrees, and with everyone's attention elsewhere, he sneaks toward Ryuzo. But just as he gets close, one of the guards spots him and knocks him out cold. When Jin wakes up, he realizes the Mongols have captured Taka too, and things get even worse when Koten Khan shows up. Koten tries to convince Jin to surrender and stop the samurai from attacking. He talks calmly, trying to mess with Jin's mind, but Jin refuses to give in. So, as a twisted way of proving a point, Koten hands Taka a blade and tries to force him to kill Jin. But things don't go the way Koten planned, and it ends in tragedy. What was supposed to be a moment of persuasion turns into something heartbreaking.
Run.
Your friend died for you.
After Taka is killed, Jin manages to escape, and when he tells Yuna that Taka is dead, Yuna is completely distraught. She and Jin return to the same area, kill all the soldiers, and Yuna gets to see Taka one last time. Jin and Yuna bury Taka. Yuna says she no longer wants to leave Tsushima and has no reason to do so. She wants to stay and avenge Taka. After Jin returns to the castle, he sees that the shogun's reinforcements have arrived and are ready for battle. In addition to the shogun, Yuna, Lady Masako, Kenji, the group of monks, Master Ishikawa, and the people of Yurikawa are ready to reclaim Shimura's castle. The night before the attack, Shimura tells Jin that the shogun has agreed with his opinion that Jin will administer this castle after him, and there's no need to be a ghost anymore. From Jin's expression, it's clear how much he agrees with this. The next day, the war to conquer the castle begins. The samurai, following Shimura's orders, fight in their traditional way, but the Mongols use tools and equipment that greatly help them. They manage to pass through the first and second gates of the castle. When Jin sees Shimura looking away, he, using his ghost methods, slices up some Mongols. But when Shimura arrives, he starts repeating the game's most common phrase. This is not the way, and this nonsense. They continue fighting. As they are about to pass the last gate, the Mongols send several riderless horses with explosives attached toward Shimura's men, causing many of Shimura's men to die senselessly. Jin gets extremely angry about this, and the battle stops halfway there. After this, Jin goes to Shimura and tells him he wants to secretly enter the castle tonight and kill everyone with poison, ending the whole thing. He's abandoning all the samurai ideals and won't become a proper person. Shimura slaps Jin, and the Ghost of Tsushima leaves in protest. Since Shimura's words were as important as Koten's armpit hair to Jin, Jin asks Yuna to get him poison, and when Yuna gets the poison, the Ghost of Tsushima springs into action. Jin stealthily enters the castle, pours poison into the Mongols' drinks, and easily dispatches them. After continuing, Jin finally corners Ryuzo alone. Although Ryuzo says he regrets it, Jin says, "Even if you eat shit, it won't help now," and kills his childhood playmate.
You are my oldest friend, Ryuzo. Surrender. And answer for your crimes. For both our sakes.
I can't. Jin. Please.
Goodbye, Ryuzo.
After Jin gets out of the palace, he runs into Shimura. Shimura tells him that the shogun has ordered the arrest of the ghost because he's been breaking the samurai code. Shimura tries to convince Jin to admit he's his son and to say that Yuna is the Ghost of Tsushima, but Jin refuses. After helping Yuna escape, Jin fully embraces the name Ghost of Tsushima, and because he's protecting his country in his own way, he ends up getting arrested by his own government. After a few days in prison, Kinji appears, saying Yuna has tracked Koten to the north of the island and has even taken Jin's sword with her. This is the perfect chance to end this dirty game. Seeing everything is ready, Jin tells Kinji to inform Norio, Masako, and Ishikawa so they can defeat them. Jin manages to get on his horse, but the horse is severely wounded and dies along the way.
Forgive me, Sora. We have to reach Ken. Yuna's waiting for us. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you.
More exhausted and hopeless than Jin. After walking through the fog for a while, Jin passes out. When he wakes up, he sees Yuno. She tells him there's a group of hunters nearby, expert archers led by a guy named Takashi. Jin goes to find Akashi, and after completing a few tasks, the hunters agree to join Jin's fight. When Jin returns, he finds the whole group ready and waiting for battle. A little later, Yuna realizes that Koten Khan and his men have figured out how to make poison. Now they're planning to sneak out of Tsushima and launch a secret attack on Japan. Jin and Yuna know they can't wait any longer, so they strike back with everything they've got. Just then, Lord Shimura and his troops arrive, and things start going great. After dealing with a bunch of Mongol soldiers, Jin finally finds Koten Khan on a ship and kills him.
And another will come. We will be remembered forever. No, you will be forgotten.
Jin teams up with Yuna again, and she tells him, "Your uncle wants to see you." In the story mode, this is the last time we see Yuna. According to the conversation between Jin and Shimura, it's revealed that the Shogun has removed Jin's name from the entire Sakai clan, and no other member of the Sakai family can be a samurai anymore. The Shogun has also ordered Jin's death. He takes him to the same tree where he always trained him. Now Jin is forced to fight his past, namely Shimura. In this somber and unpleasant battle, Jin wins, but the choice of the Ghost of Tsushima ending is ours. The first ending is to fulfill Shimura's dying wish for an honorable death and kill him after defeating him. The second ending is to spare Shimura and disappear like a ghost. No website or source explicitly states which ending is canonical. I searched extensively and came to this conclusion, and that's the full story of Ghost of Tsushima. If you're excited for the sequel as much as I am, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts and theories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one here on GamesDusk.
But I will not kill my family. The ghost will be hunted for the rest of his days. I know.